Hey everyone, what's up? In this video, I'm just gonna go over some things that are probably bound to break in your BMW e46. This e46 has 175,000 miles on it, and quite a few things have broken. And I'm just gonna show you some common things that usually break or leak on a BMW. So to start off, we're gonna look at the engine bay on an e46, and in this engine bay, it has one of the worst cooling designs ever, at least I think, in BMWs, the history of BMWs. So right here is your expansion tank. As you can see, all right there, that's your expansion tank, and they're made out of plastic, as a lot of the cooling parts are, and they're bound to leak. So if your car is leaking coolant, that's probably the first thing I would check, is this expansion tank right here. And down there, you can't see it, it's also your right where that belt is. It's really hard to see. Let me see if I can get my flash on it. You can't really see it, but that is your water pump, and that is made of a plastic impeller, and that is probably bound to break as well. And luckily for me, again, this car has 175,000 miles on it, and it hasn't broken yet, but the expansion tank kept leaking and leaking and leaking. The car would heat up, and it would just spew fluid all over the ground, but it wouldn't leak while it was cold because the plastic expands and cracks due to the old age and how hot the car gets. So the next thing that will probably break, I can't really show you where it is because you have to take off you have to disassemble your back seat back there, but I'll tell you what it is and I'll show you how to listen for it. So it's actually your high pressure fuel pump that provides fuel to the car. So one time you'll get in your car, and when it's about a quarter of a tank, right now as the car's off so it doesn't show gas, about a quarter of a tank, your car might just stall out or die, and that's because the fuel pump is no longer pumping fuel to the engine. So to see if it's working, or just, you'll always hear it when you first start off the car. So if you took your car, just put it in ignition 1. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's kind of hard to hear with beeping, but it makes a sound. You'll hear like a when you first start up the car, and that's how you know that it's working. But if it was to fail, it's probably going to happen when you have a quarter of a tank, and it's one of the most common things that fails on the e46 BMW. The next thing to fail or go wrong with your BMW is probably in the actual HVAC unit itself. So if you get in your car and you notice that you hear the fan do something like this, it goes all, you'll hear it blowing as max, and then it shuts right off. Max. And then nothing, it just goes back and forth. You'll hear the fan kick in, out, in, out, in, out. That probably means your final stage resistor is broken, and they're a relatively inexpensive part. You can get aftermarket ones. You can get them on Amazon, and might stop your AC from working. You might have a problem with your AC, and it might be because of that. And it's a pretty easy fix. It's actually located right up in here. You take off the glove box, and it's right behind here. It's right up in there, but it's a pretty easy fix, pretty inexpensive, but it's something very annoying, and it was actually the first thing that was wrong when I got this car. That was the first issue I had with the car, was the actual final stage resistor. It kind of, they call it the hedgehog, and again, it's kind of annoying, but it's pretty simple and relatively inexpensive fix, which is another good. Really common thing to break or make noise in your car in the e46 is the window regulator. So if you come down here, and if I press the button down, if you heard that clank, it's because the actual regulator in the door, they're very cheap and they go all the time. I think it's broken, and it sounds like it's on its way out. And it's not too noisy on the way up, but on the way down, you always hear a clanking sound, and it's due to the window regulator. And it's more common than not that you'll see a BMW e46 and the window will not roll down, and that's only because the window regulator is broken. It's not that expensive, and it's a pretty easy fix. You just have to take out the door, but again, it's a little annoyance and stuff to look out for if you have one of these. So the last thing I want to talk about, it's not really another thing that breaks on BMWs. It's just kind of something about the e46 in general I wanted to mention, and that is the service soon light right there, or check engine light. That comes on a lot in these older BMWs, and for some very, very small, minor things. So if you do get that, I wouldn't freak out. I would try to plug in an OBD2 scanner and clear it and see what happens, and if it comes back, then there is an issue. But a lot of the time these cars throw check engine lights for little things. They have a very low tolerance for when something doesn't work right. So if it doesn't work right once and maybe it's just a fluke, it will throw a check engine light. They're very picky. So I just want to say that as something else to go with BMWs. They're great cars, I love them, but they do throw a lot of check engine lights. And I hope you guys got some informative information about the E46 if you're thinking about buying one, or if you have one and you're worried about something that's going to break. They're very reliable cars. I think I've had no problems with this car, really, knock on wood. But I just wanted to mention some of the few things that I noticed with mine, and along with other people's that go wrong. Pretty common, and I just wanted to thank you guys for watching. I'd also just want to say like, comment, and subscribe. A lot of people have been liking my videos, subscribing, it's really been growing, and I just want, if you guys want to subscribe, hit that like button. If you want to see more BMW related content, hit that like button. And also, if you guys want to see any video, if I mention something in here and you want to see a DIY or any DIY that has to do with the BMW e46, let me know and I'll be sure to make that for you. I love making videos and I want to continue. Just let me know.